Awesome. Welcome. We made it. This is us. No, this is business math. And we're not, so just the nightmare of network issues this week. And so we didn't have class on Wednesday because, of course, rookie mistake, I only posted the Zoom link on Moodle. I never ever thought that Moodle would be down. It does happen, but it's never happened for this long before, so that's my mistake. And I have no way of getting your personal emails because that system has been down this whole time. So I'm glad you made it. Good job. Because now Moodle is down again. It's up for some of my coworkers, but not for me. So anyways, we'll see how long it takes to get sorted. Oh, hello. Let's see. Oh, just me. All right. Okay. So today I just want to basically redo our introductions. It's not going to be anything crazy just because I know not everyone is able to be here through no fault of their own. And so, and of course, I'll post this recording so it's available, but we're not going to cover any material today. I just want to go through the course outline and introduce myself, which is probably a nice place to start. So I am Emily. Emily Lee, so many E's, it's crazy. It used to be Emily Gustafson, so I guess Lee is easier, but there's kind of pros and cons, I guess. My office, if you're on campus and you have a question, you're welcome to stop by. It's in C104. And this phone, well, I don't really answer it. Even if it's ringing, I'm not even sure it's hooked up. But instead of this phone number, I'll give you my cell, which is 250-864-8386. Okay. And so if you have a question and you're working on a problem, I find that the easiest way to ask me a question, is to text me instead of sending me an email, right? I just find that sitting down and writing an email is a little bit more formal. It takes a little bit more time, and so that can be annoying. Whereas if you're texting, then you can take a picture of what you're working on, and then you can text it to me, and I can look at it, and then I can do some scribbles on the side, and then I can send it back to you, and it just improves the workflow quite a bit, I find. You're welcome to email me as well. ely@okanagan.bc.ca. Our email is still working, but that's not necessarily going to be true. So I don't know what to do, but there's nothing I can do. All we can do is do our best. Obviously, my email is set up to go to my phone, so they go to the same place. But if it is urgent, then you should text me. Don't call me because I won't pick up. It's weird. Anyways, I am happy to do office hours. So I've kind of abandoned the traditional office hours just because no one was showing up, and it was just me kind of sitting around waiting for no one to come. And so that's not efficient. And because I'm just available pretty much all the time, then you can just text me or email me and say, hey, can we hop on Zoom? And or if you stop by my office and I'm there, then I'm happy to meet with you then. Right. So basically, if you have a question, just reach out to me. And I don't really care what time it is. I'm an adult, so I can decide if it's appropriate for me to reply, or if I have to put it off, or right. And so if you have a question, I'd prefer that you just get it to me, and then we can sort it out as quickly as possible. Okay, good. I'm keeping my eye on the chat. I secretly love online classes for some reason. I don't have to commute, and I don't know, I get to just be at home, so that's nice. But I haven't done an online class for a little while now, probably a year. And so it's, I don't know, it's kind of fun. But I'm still getting used to the chat. That took some work for me to learn how to navigate the chat and teach at the same time. Okay. I do find that if you have a question, if you send it in the chat, just make sure you send it to everyone, even if it is embarrassing. For whatever reason, it shouldn't be embarrassing. I'm sure everyone has the same question, but that way I don't have to relay the question to the class and everyone can just see it right away. We have class Monday, Wednesday. You're here, so you made it. Good job. Okay. Oh, and I should say, so I did post the course outline on Moodle, which no one really has access to right now, so that's fine. But I'll also post these notes that I write. So in general, after every class, I'll post the notes that we write, just so that you have them if you miss the class, or if you're following along with the video, then you'll have the notes that we wrote. Okay. I'm assuming you've read the calendar description. It's pretty standard. Okay. So I'm going to say, in kind of air quotes, the required text for this course is The Mathematics of Finance by Joe Hobart. Here's the front cover of one, because I took it apart and I hole punched it, my copy, because I wanted it in a binder. But it looks like this. Any edition is fine. I think, well, now I've taken it apart, so I can't tell which edition this is. It's probably second or third or something. I have seen them on Marketplace. The only reason I'm recommending that you get it is because it's nice to have extra practice problems, right? So, but I will be following the textbook very closely, so my notes will probably suffice in terms of the material, but it's for the practice problems and the extra examples that you would use the textbook for. Okay, so here, my notes will likely suffice. Okay, maybe I'll change my pen here. But the textbook provides extra examples and practice problems. Extra examples and practice problems. Of course, the bookstore is probably down with the network issues. They won't be able to do anything. And so I understand that you won't have the textbook. That's totally fine. Like I said, I think you'll be able to survive. But it is nice to be able to do some pre-reading. And if Moodle was working, I would show you the layout of our Moodle page, although because it's been down, I haven't had a chance to work on it as much as I planned to. Darn, right? So anyways, everything's just kind of being put on the back burner till next week. Hopefully things are sorted by next week. There are optional texts. So there's a student solutions manual that you can buy. There's an exam workbook that you can purchase. Okay. And one thing that I do want is it is not available online. So I've asked Joe, so Joe works in our department, and I've asked him for a PDF version of it, and he says no. So I've tried, but I haven't been able to find it online. I have seen it on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, if anyone's out of the loop. And so I have seen it come up for sale on Marketplace, quite a few actually. So if you're here kind of in town, then you might be able to find it that way, but it's not available online as far as I know.
Is it something that's available through the college, at the college, like in the bookstore?
It is available in the bookstore. But like I said, I'm not sure the bookstore is open right now.
Okay.
'Cause
I'm not there quite yet, but I'm gonna be there in a month or two. So I guess it'll just be on the to-do list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, my notes will basically be the textbook anyways. So it's just for those extra examples and stuff. We spend the first couple of days reviewing order of operations, just reviewing basic math. And so that'll be a nice kind of foundation for us to work from. We will be using a financial calculator. And so because we're online, I don't have to make you buy this calculator. So the calculator, it looks like, no, I want to do one of those those unboxing videos. Here's what it looks like. Okay. No, it looks like this. Okay. It's kind of expensive. I think last time I checked, it was like $50 for this financial calculator. So, and it's not even that great of a calculator, except the financial math things that it can do. And so because we're online, we have the luxury of just using an app. And I found a free app. And let me remember what it's called. Oh yeah, BA Calc. So here I'll say BA Calc is a free app that I will be using. It has the exact same functions as the BA2 Plus. Okay. It looks like this because it's free. It does come up with ads every now and then. I have to turn my, this kind of looks weird. Let me just close it and try again. Wait. There. So because it's free, it does come up with ads, which is pretty annoying. It's usually like a stupid game or something, but this is what it looks like. So I'm going to take a screenshot and sure. So as long as it looks something like this, let me add a page here. Okay. Any calculator that looks like this. Okay. The most important part here is that it has these options. Let's see here. So these are the financial calculator parts of it. There are other things that we're going to use as well that are unique to this calculator, such as the date option, but this is what you want to be looking out for. Okay. Like I said, I like this calculator. It looks the same as this one. And so I don't know, just kind of works. Okay. Okay. So that's a benefit of not being in class, because then you'd have to buy one of these, which I also find on Marketplace quite often. And for a while, my goal was to just accumulate a class worth so that I could just lend them out for the term. But then I didn't get to teach this course for a little while, so I stopped. Okay. All right. In terms of your grades, things are really going to be spread out just because we are online. Okay. And so you're going to have assignments, which are 20%, which will prepare you for the quizzes. Now, these quizzes, I'll have them open for the entire day, so you can do them whenever you'd like. Usually they're about 20-minute timed quizzes. Okay. About 20 minutes. Oh. About 20 minutes timed quizzes. I can't remember exactly how many I do, but I think it worked out to about one every other week. Okay. I'll give you class time, so we'll have class, and then I'll just end 20 minutes early, or probably 30 minutes early. And then you can, in theory, use that time to do the quiz if you want. But you don't have to, right? It'll be open for 24 hours. Okay. We'll also have tests. They'll be on Moodle. So that's assuming that Moodle is working. Otherwise, I don't know what to do. But it should be all sorted. And I'll, once I have access to Moodle again, then I'll be able to post the dates, and that'll be all good. Okay. Obviously, I'll change this date, this January 20th. So if you're unable to write a test, you have to let me know by January 20th. I have here, but because you haven't had access, I haven't posted anything, then I'll switch that date. But in general, if you see a test date and it's not going to work for you, then you have to let me know. The final exam is only 25%. Okay. Because it's an online final exam. Okay, but it is cumulative. And I am going to skip ahead to our policy here, because this is going to be very important, right? If our final exam is only worth 25% of our grade, then it's going to be very tempting to say, oh, I've already passed the course. Oh, well, I can just forfeit, whatever. But, okay, in the math department, we've decided that one of our policies is that you have to get at least 45% on the final exam to be able to pass the course. Okay. And so that's really important to keep in mind. So I don't want you to think, oh, it's just 25%, who cares? Because if you don't get at least 45% on the final, I won't be able to pass you. Okay. In general, I mean, I think it's pretty reasonable to say that you should pass the final to pass the course, right? 45% is a little bit lower, but in general, right? Are you able to kind of produce at least half of the material? That's what I'm looking for. Okay. All right. So let me go back here. All right. Because this is an online course, I might get in touch with you and say, hey, could you explain what you did here? Because I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but if you can explain it to me, then I can maybe give you part marks or something like that. Okay. Learning outcomes are always very overwhelming, especially at the beginning of the course, but it is a fun thing to go back to. Once we finish all our material, then it's really fun to go through and look at this list and say, hey, I do know how to do all, or at least most of all these things, right? And so I'll come back to the learning outcomes as we prepare for the final exam, which I know feels eons away, but it'll be here before you know it. Okay. In terms of the material, we're going to work through the textbook just methodically. I do skip a section or two because there are some optional sections, but in general, we're going to work through all the material. And because as a student, I used to hate when courses skipped ahead in a textbook and then went back and then jumped kind of around in the sections. I didn't like that. So I don't like to do that. Okay. None of those sections are going to make sense. And off the top of my head, I was trying to remember if I think the first 3 chapters are test number 1. Now I can't remember exactly. And then I think this is test number 2. I'll put question marks here because I'll need to confirm, but and then test number 3, I like to include all the material. I do know that. Okay. Because then what happens is you'll have seen all the questions on a test. Okay, it depends on, because we have Easter kind of, we lose a Monday, right? Easter Monday. And so that might impact our final exam review, but if we've seen everything on a test, then that's definitely going to help. So I like to have all the material on the last test, or at least the end of the material. Okay. Your assignments will be on Moodle, so a lot of this doesn't apply, right? But I usually make the deadline at midnight or 11:59 because midnight's confusing, right? But essentially midnight, and they'll just be on Moodle. Okay? I am not too picky about attending class. In fact, that's why I record the videos, because I know things happen and you have lives and you have jobs and you have all these things going on. And I really don't expect you to come to class. Okay, so coming to class is optional. But as long as you're learning things, right? And so as long as you're learning the material, I don't really care how you do it, right? It's my job to kind of communicate the material in a way that's going to help you learn it. But at the end of the day, if you're working through the textbook and you're doing these practice problems and you're doing the quizzes and you're doing the tests, and there's what more can I do for you, right? And so that's, I'm fine if you don't want to come to class, if you feel like, oh, I've got this, but if you feel yourself slipping, right, then you need to get in touch with me and maybe start coming to class, right? Because maybe it'll help, maybe not, but I hope it would help. Okay. So like I said, I do post my notes, I do post the recording. it takes a little while for it to process. So Zoom does something in the background before I'm able to retrieve it. And so usually by the end of the day, I'll have it posted on YouTube. And once you're on Moodle, everything's going to be like that. Once you're on Moodle, there's a link to our YouTube videos. So I've got a playlist going. And if you wanted to read ahead or watch ahead, I've also got other Math 114 videos there. So you can just find a different playlist if you wanted to watch ahead. That's totally fine. Term 2 is kind of a long term because there are no long weekends, except we do have reading break. Okay. So that's February 20th to the 24th. So we have that whole week off. And of course, there are no classes then. Okay. One thing that I will point out is, and March 10th feels like a ways away. Yes, I know that. However, at that point, by March 10th, you'll have a really good idea of where you're at in the course, right? And so if you think that, okay, this is not the term for me to be taking this course, right? I anticipate failing. There's just nothing I can do about it, right? Everyone has a bad term. So if that's this term for you, then I'm really sorry. But if you feel like, okay, I might not pass this course, you are much better off dropping with a W, okay, than failing, because a W does not count towards your GPA, whereas a fail does count towards your GPA. So it's really just a time to strategize. Okay, but now that I've said that, I rarely keep track of this date, right? So that's up to you now to just keep track of March 10th. That's kind of my deadline for deciding how this is going to go. Okay, and hopefully it's all fine, all good. But like I said, everyone has a bad term. I've never met anyone who hasn't had a bad term, so it does happen, and if it does happen, then I'm sorry. Oh yeah, and then we have Easter just at the end of the term, and then we come back to school for 4 days, and then we're done. Kind of silly, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. Okay, and so yeah, for me as a student, it was like the first thing that I did was I had my planner. Of course, we had, physical planners at the time. And the first thing I did was write down all the holidays. I want to keep track of those. Right? I always get kind of sad because I get a notification if someone logs into the Zoom room. And so I always get kind of sad when people log in on a day off, because I'm like, oh, you poor soul, you didn't know we had a day off? Oh boy, I didn't do my job right. Okay. For the final exam, you have to write it during the scheduled final exam time. And a friend of mine who also teaches, she said that her online final was supposed to, or her online class had an in-person final exam. Now, I don't remember seeing anything about that for this course, but I also can't check because the system is down. So as far as I know, it's an online final, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. So stay tuned. But if you have to be in person, which, like I said, I don't think so, but then I'll let you know as soon as I find out. Yeah. There are very few instances where you're able to write the final exam in a different time, okay? But there are rules and things. So if it comes up and it's going to be a problem, then let me know. Okay? In terms of academic integrity, don't cheat, no cheating. And that's pretty much all I want to say there. I think everyone knows and probably has had some sort of huge kind of rambling about academic integrity and all that fun stuff. So I'm assuming that we're all up to snuff. But in general, I do feel like in your heart of hearts, you know what's right and what's wrong. Okay, and so just don't cheat. Okay. Be nice to each other, be nice to me. I be nice to you. That was the student conduct policies. We have a few resources that not a lot of people know about. And hey, the Success Center isn't on here. Weird. I did post a link to the Success Center. Link on Moodle when it's available. But the Success Center provides free tutoring. And so that doesn't look like free at all. Close enough. So free tutoring, these tutors, and there is always a Math 114 tutor. And so they're not always available, obviously, but there is a Math 114 tutor. Okay, so that's really, really nice. And they're already paid by the school, and they can meet online or in person. And if you follow the link that I posted on Moodle, you can kind of get set up there. Okay, and so that's a really fun, kind of cool resource to have. If you, for some reason, don't want to ask me a question, you can ask them a question, and they'll be familiar with all the material and all that fun stuff. Okay. There's also accessibility services. So there are many different reasons you would use accessibility services. But from my end, one of the main reasons that you would use them is if you needed extra time on a test or any sort of kind of testing scenario, you would go to them and say, hey, I feel like I need extra time. And then they would evaluate you, and there's a process that you would go through to make sure that you're not just making it up. And then I get a letter from them saying, hey, this person gets, time and a half or something like that. And then, but all that is done through accessibility services. Okay, so, and there's also counseling services. Of course, there's kind of course counselors, right? But the counseling services, again, it's a free service, and it's just, if you need to talk to someone, there can be a range of reasons you'd want to talk to someone. You're welcome to reach out to me, but I'm not a counselor, but you're welcome to reach out to me always. And then but it might be nice to know that there are people that you can talk to, and I'm sure you can reach them online, although I haven't confirmed that yet. Okay, good. And I think that was all I was gonna do. So pretty much the only thing you need to do for Monday is just kind of hope that Moodle's up and running again, I guess, and make sure that you download an app, right? The BA Calc app, probably. Okay, or get your hands, if you prefer to have a physical calculator, right, then in terms of a better calculator, especially because we're able to just work online, right? The calculator, so what? Okay, so I do get ads, obviously, now. The calculator here is a little bit annoying to use. Okay, so of course you can do things like 12 divided by 3. But if you want a nicer calculator that you can work with, I really like the Desmos Scientific Calculator. So it's another free app. Okay, and so it's this, I don't have a pointer on this screen, but it's this one here. So I like this app for a calculator because you can do things like 12 divided by 3, and then you can use that answer, the previous answer, plus 2, and then and all that kind of fun stuff. So then you can see your work line by line, which is really nice. Okay, and so here, maybe take another screenshot here. I'll add that here. The Desmos Scientific Calculator app is a nice calculator that shows your work line by line. Okay, and so it looks like this. I'll crop this white space off. Okay. And maybe I'll take a screenshot of what these things look like on here. Let's see here. So this one and this one are what it looks like. What they look like, I guess. Calculator apps. Okay. You probably have or maybe you don't. I used to have a favorite calculator that I used to use. There's nothing worse than learning a new calculator. And so if you have a favorite calculator, then go for it, obviously, but just to get you sorted out. So for Monday, basically just get set up with a calculator app or both. Okay. With BA Calc app and potentially another calculator. If you prefer. Obviously, you don't have to do that for Monday, but it's just nice to get it all set up. Okay, because on Monday, I'll show you how to change the settings so that the decimal places aren't all weird and all that kind of fun stuff, but we'll save that for Monday when hopefully everything is all normal again. Hopefully. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll end this recording here and I'll stick around if you have any off recording questions. But otherwise, have a great weekend and I'll see you on Monday. It's crazy, Monday, Wednesday classes. Stop this.